Good morning, everyone. Edward here from the Inland Empire Regional Chamber of Commerce, starting our Build Back Better Business webinar series. Thank you for attending and thank you for watching. Today's webinar, we're going to talk about effective collections, the art of getting paid. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Eddy Sumar. Take it away, Eddy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ornelas, Edward. Thanks to the Chamber and to the San Bernardino County Economic Development Department for making this series a reality and for the Otis Academy. So far, we have been talking about balancing work with life. We talked about time management. We talked about the art of credit management. And today we are going to proceed with an important component of cash flow management, which is effective collections. The art of getting paid. Notice the word art, because collection is not just a process of emailing someone and then thinking that they're going to pay you on time. That's only when we deal with machines and bank accounts. If we program machines and robots, this could happen. But any glitch, it will stop the process. But when we are dealing with people, collection is really a team sport. There is a great deal of communication that happens before even a transaction is set or a product is shipped or a service is rendered. There are relationships that are being built. So the art of getting paid is really the art of networking, salesmanship, marketing, credit approvals, credit due diligence, customer service, performance to delight the customer, all combined to culminate in getting paid. So really, you are the master artist. You build that relationship, you build the connections, and then when you sell, you're almost guaranteed the payment. Notice what I say, almost guaranteed the payment, because even the best relationships could experience some stresses, some hiccups. People are happy today, tomorrow the mood could change, anything could offend a person. And in the process of getting paid, if we offend our counterparts, if we offend the customer, good luck on getting paid. So now, today we're going to be talking about operation cash flow, strategies and tactics of getting paid. Notice what I say, it's operation cash flow. It's not about just collecting. Collecting is the vehicle, is the process by which we guarantee our cash flow. Because when a company sells a product or sells a service, it beefs up the top line of the income statement, which is sales revenue. But many times people think, if I do the income statement exercise and I deduct my costs and my expenditures, I pay my taxes, and I end up with a profit. A lot of people think, if I'm profitable, therefore I can't pay my bills. No, profit doesn't pay bills. What pay the bills is cash, because when we sell on credit, we haven't received the money. We expended money in order to generate the product and the service, but then now that sale sits in accounts receivable on our balance sheet. Now we need to make sure that that receivable is converted into cash, and with cash we pay payroll, expenditures, vendors, our taxes. So all are paid by means of the cash, not profit in the income statement. So today we're going to learn about strategies and tactics to make sure that the cash is guaranteed. As we mentioned in the art of credit management, cash flow starts not with the actual process of calling a customer to getting paid. It actually starts at the sales and marketing level, because then sales and marketing team are building the prospect's desire and willingness to buy the company's products. Once a prospect is ready, they have the desire and the willingness to buy our product or service. Now, if it's going to be on credit, not on cash basis, credit due diligence has to be performed. This is where the credit analyst and the credit professional is going to determine the prospect's willingness and ability to pay. Once this is determined, the application is approved, the transaction is really finalized, the product is shipped, the service is rendered. Now We have receivables on the books. We hope now that the customer is going to pay according to our terms. In between credit due diligence and selling and collection, there is an important phase of customer delight, customer service. Here we are going to protect, preserve, and maintain the willingness and ability to pay. And I'll explain later how we are going to do that. And then collection efforts. Once the account is due now, we hope that your monthly statement or your invoice is a vehicle that will allow them and trigger that payment. Sometimes we live in a technological world. Maybe they didn't receive the email, they didn't receive the invoice. It will need another reminder or a phone call to remind the customer. And then we can convert that receivable into cash. So the willingness and ability will be actually converted into cash. So that's really the important stages in getting paid. It starts with sales and marketing, through credit due diligence, customer service, and then collection efforts. So that's exactly what we are going to concentrate on today. Look at that quarter dollar picture. A quarter is a medium of exchange. It's a currency, United States currency. Now, if you look at this we call the obverse, if you are a numismat or a coin collector, they use this expression where you see the picture of a person is called the obverse, and which is the head. The tail, they call it the reverse. The obverse or the head is sales and marketing because it's the image of that company. It was guaranteed for the sale. Your customer service team, those who fulfill the order. But then the reverse is really the collection efforts also, part of customer service and your collection efforts, where we convert that sale into cash. Imagine if I took a laser beam and I cut this quarter in half, now go to the bank and tell them, by the way, I can give you the quarter dollar head. Without the other half, you don't have a legal tender. You don't have a medium of exchange. You have to have both. So when we think of the currency of exchange, credit and sales working together, that's the currency of exchange. And that's what guarantees that teamwork, that your cash flow is going to be really on a timely basis. Here is really an awakening slide. A lot of people think, oh, I can sell and it doesn't matter when the customer pays. In fact, what happens when there is a delay in collection accounts? Notice your account within 3 months, your dollar, the present value, all of a sudden, due to inflation and other sources, it becomes 73 cents. You wait 6 months to get paid, 50 cents. The dollar in 1 year is almost $quarter. And then in 2 years, you are lucky to get 10 cents because now your chances of getting paid become less and less. And this is what they call the shrinking dollar source. Collection trends, and this is from the collection associations and the legal law of associations, where they say they did research and they felt if you keep your receivables with longer on your aging, notice aging report. When the dollar ages, it loses value because now, especially with pandemics, any age could mean that that restaurant is out of business. That business is no longer solvent. They become insolvent. They go bankrupt and so forth. So really, in a bankruptcy, you're lucky to get 7 cents on a dollar sometimes, or you're lucky to get anything if it's a total liquidation, Chapter 7. But this is really an eye-opener. When we think of accounts receivable aging report, remember, with every day that passes, with every month that passes, that dollar is shrinking. In fact, Benjamin Franklin said, time is money. So we know if you put money in a bank, time with good compound interest is going to increase it. But in collection, time is against us. If we don't collect on time, we have other factors that we are risking that we are not going to get paid. In fact, how now do we get paid? Look at the wording, connectivity, the road to productivity, which means collection is about connecting with the customer. It's not about collecting. It's about connecting. Connect to collect, I always say, which means when you connect, that's the human approach. When you collect, that's the task. So when we think of collections about the task and the process, When we think of connection, it's the human element, it's the soft, the emotional intelligence, the cultural intelligence. All the soft skills come into the zone of connectivity. And if we do that, if we connect to collect, we're going to be highly productive in ensuring our timely cash flow. And what is collection? It's a process. It's also an event. It's a cycle. It's an art. What is collection? It's fun. It's magic. What's collection is about follow up and follow through. Because really, if a customer tells you, I'm going to pay you tomorrow, and you believe that they're going to pay you tomorrow, and you said, oh, they'll pay me tomorrow, then a week passes by, you haven't gotten paid. You have to remind. If somebody tells me I'll pay you tomorrow, guess when I will call the customer? Tomorrow. Mr. Customer, you told me today, is the check on its way? I thank you very much. Or maybe the next day, oh, you told me yesterday, I didn't get it. Is there something happening? I don't wait a week or 2 or 3. When somebody promises payment tomorrow, I'll contact them tomorrow, not to dun them, but to thank them for their intention. And if that's also a reminder, if they haven't paid you or they forgot, or they were just playing the float, or they were using an excuse to get you off their back. Prompt follow-up allows me to discern between excuses and reasons. And that's very important in collection. Now, there are 3 pillars in ensuring cash flow. In connectivity, the road to productivity. Notice the base, there is customer service, credit, education, then collection. I don't put on the collection hat. First, I will extend every customer service possible to make sure that the invoice is correct. The customer received all the items of the invoice. There were no disputes. Make sure that they were delighted, that yes, they were happy. Because now I took the most important excuse out, or a reason, that the product didn't arrive, it was not up to par, it wasn't the right color, it was defective, etc. Customer service allows you to make sure that the service or product was really to the delight of the customer. Now we go into credit education. Mr. Customer, I know you love my product and service, but now if you don't pay on time, guess what's going to happen? I might have to put you on hold. It's going to affect your credit scoring with me. And if we report to the credit bureaus, it's going to affect your company's score. And also, if you were a guarantor, it's going to affect your personal FICO score. And then I move to collection. So these are the 3 C's: customer service first, credit education second, and then collection. Never do action without telling your customer or the debtor the consequences of their behavior. Educate them, be on their side. Maybe they don't understand, maybe they don't realize that you mean business. When I worked in a collection agency, a lot of people thought that the agency was bluffing when we said we are going to go to court. But when we sent them the summons and complaint and we filed a lawsuit, oh, I didn't think you were going to do that. Yes, we were serious. When we say we're going to do something, we are going to do it. And then they come to the office and they pay in full because they didn't want to go to court. But there are some that will keep testing you. Then you go to court, then you get a judgment. Then now you have to get a writ of execution. Then you have to involve the sheriff through a till tab or through a drive-by and so forth. There are many things because debtors are going to test us. And thank God, in my estimation, more than 95%, let's say, are good. They're going to pay on time. Only less than 5%, maybe 3% are going to be tough with you, and maybe 1% will be the con artists. So I'm happy with 95% to pay me on the portfolio. The rest will deal with that by exception. So now here is really a very important slide. Collection management requires, notice this. First, it's a balancing act. Collect the cash while keep customer happy and buying. You see, that's the key. It's not just about collecting and sending somebody to collection or threatening the customer. Your sales and marketing team worked so hard to onboard the customer. Now, the customer maybe wasn't onboarded correctly. Maybe the credit analyst or the credit manager didn't send a welcoming letter explaining terms and conditions. What does it mean to have a credit line? What does it mean a 30-day term? Do you pay 30 days after you receive the invoice or 30 days from the date of invoice, etc.? So really, we need to make sure, yes, I want to collect, but I want to keep the customer happy and buying. The second thing is it's a behavioral and psychological approach. It's about motivation, motivating the customer, your debtor, to pay you on time according to your terms and to keep buying and coming back, building that goodwill and loyalty. It's a sociological approach. All those who deal with collection, they have to love people. You're not there to be a hard-nosed collector. You are there to be their friend, their partner, to make sure that they're fiscally responsible, that you help them to build that credit line, to pay on time, and to keep growing that account. So fondness of people and the power of perception. It's an anthropological approach. This is where we learn how to migrate and link with the customer in order, remember, to connect to collect. A customer service approach is about always servicing the client even though they owe you the money to ensure loyalty and goodwill. It's a systematic procedural approach. I call it the spa of collection. If every collection department, every collector has a systematic procedural approach, they now can manage their desk, they can manage their account, they can manage their customers and keep that discipline going so they can ensure the timely cash flow. It's an emphasis on the positive. That means attitude, tone, and approach. A good collector is the one that catches more flies with honey, not with vinegar, as they say. Practically, it's important to be human. It's important to show positive attitude. Yes, Mr. Customer, understand you fell on hard time. Let me work with you. Let us find a solution. Let us put you on a payment plan. It has to be a realistic payment plan. Let's work together to get you to the zone that where you have become debt-free. And then the mastery of bargaining and negotiating techniques. And anytime we deal in collection and with people, we need to be good negotiator and good conflict resolution masters. Let's look at the strategy. When we think of operation cash flow, we need to think of strategy. Strategy is the means by which objectives are pursued and obtained over time, which means any collection department, this should be universal, open communication. Collectors cannot be one-sided. You owe the money and that's it, pay or else. No, pay or I get you to court. No. Open communication, find reasons, find the excuses, understand the customer. Through open communication, through listening, interactive listening, we are able to discern, does the customer has a reason for a delay or is just offering excuses? And I need to eliminate those excuses. Teamwork with sales and marketing. Credit departments and collection departments should work hand in hand with sales and marketing because that's the currency. The obverse is sales and marketing, the reverse is credit collection. It's a strategic alliance with our customers. Anytime we collect, the customer is a partner. The debt, the invoice is the enemy, not the customer. Let's work together to conquer that past due invoice. Set milestones. That means think of settlement agreements, payment arrangements, installment payment, etc. And also set milestones for you and your aging, how you are going to clean the aging. Clean the 1 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and so forth. Being proactive. Collection is not about when it is past due. Be proactive. Call the customer before it's past due to make sure that they got the product, they got the service, they were happy with it. Did they receive the invoice? Because some people will use the excuse, I never received your invoice. Before it's past due or 1 day past due, call them. See if they receive your product. Are they happy with it? Have they received the invoice? Do they need anything else to make sure that they pay on time? Already, that's a proactive approach. And you are extending service here, not collecting. Using the SPA, the systematic procedural approach, that is really a strategy. Each collection department, each collector should have a strategy of building a system that that collector or that department is going to be using to ensure timely cash flow, and having a good and comprehensive credit policy. Notice, credit policy, because collection comes after credit extension. So if a company did not do its credit due diligence, I can guarantee you there will be minefields and blind spots. Like some companies saying, great, let me sell this $10,000 to this company, and all of a sudden that company in 2 months goes bankrupt. But if they did due diligence, they can find out that this company really had some trouble. They were experiencing some trouble. Somebody was suing them. anytime there is a lawsuit against a company or a company has a lot of liens and so forth, by getting a credit report on the company, you'll be able to realize that they were not a good risk to take. Now, here are the tactical. We talked about the strategy. Now, look at the tactics that we use daily and weekly. Start from the bottom. Some companies fail to invoice upon a completion of a service. I worked for a company that waited a whole month before they invoiced. But when we start invoicing weekly, cash flow was expedited. Then I recommended, why wait till the end of the week? Bill whenever you ship, bill whenever you extend a service or sell a product. Then that every day that passes and you wait on billing, you are delaying your cash flow. So timely invoicing and mailings is very important. In the past, we used to mail, but today now you can email. You can send an e-invoice. Wow, it's fast. They can get it within seconds. You can call them to make sure that they got it. Then the second thing is a field blitz with sales. A lot of companies don't involve their sales force to collect. I highly recommend that the sales and marketing force should be used in the collection process to guarantee timely cash flow. The third line of defense is phone campaigns. That means you invoice, sales is involved, now you make phone calls. And then the fourth line of defense, a combination, phone call letter, phone call reminder, phone call sales, etc., etc. And then the hold mechanism. When somebody, for example, is past due, what do? Companies keep on waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting until it's 45 days, 60 days past due before they put someone on hold. You have now continued to ship and expose your company to a risky proposition. My recommendation is 1 day past due, you put the account temporarily on internal hold. Sales will contact the customer, verify why the delay, if there is any issue, because you already gave them 30 days. On the 31st day, the payment should have been received. Why wait more than that? So that's where the hold, first we start with the internal hold, and then external hold by telling the customer that they are on hold. And if they continue to be in default, now we move into third-party involvement, which means you involve collection agencies, you involve attorneys, etc. But these are the 6 lines of defense. When you do put them all together, that will be an amazing strategy combining all the 6 lines of defense. I've worked with companies and it's amazing. One company in 11 years, 0 bad debt, 0 write-off. Invoicing and mailing. See, that's what I wanted to start thinking is, even when we write a letter, an email to the customer, it's very important to say, if they don't ACH it, they send it via wire transfer, they're just going to write a check, always make sure that you use words that give an image, that create an image in their mind. When you say mail it, they know that now I have to issue the check, sign the check, put it in an envelope, put a stamp, and send it in the mail. That is very powerful, because you are putting active picture in their mind that they have to do something, rather than say just pay. Paying means just being there in the office, but when you say, please mail your payment, now you're using two words, pay and mail. Now they need to act on that. Salesforce list. That means sales and marketing and the credit department, collection department should work in hand. Notice that graph that I chose. That means on a daily basis, I used to send my Salesforce the aging report, and on a weekly basis, I give them the updates. On a monthly basis, I'll give them the monthly report. I call that the traffic light report. Clients who are in the green zone, we continue to sell. Those in the yellow zone, which means this is a warning. We need to put them on hold if they continue in this danger zone. And the red ones, stop selling, complete hold, we need to get paid. So that's very important, where the sales force is being engaged daily, weekly, and monthly. The phone. I love the phone. This is the most important vehicle, practically, the most important medium that we can use to effect payments and to expedite cash flow. Today, sad to say, a lot of people go through texting and emailing. This could be easily ignored. But if I'm calling someone, they keep ignoring my phone calls, I can move faster. I can make more. And when you talk to someone, just imagine sending emails and letters and text back and forth. You can get on the phone in a few minutes, verify it's an excuse, it's a reason, what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and then you memorialize that with a letter or a text or an email. But text should not memorialize agreements. That should be, please call me. I will be calling you. Emails, you can attach, you can put everything in that email. And if you want to be more formal, send them a nice letter on your letterhead in the mail. You combine the two media in this case. Operation cash flow, use successful telephone collection skills. Many times when we get on the phone, we need to realize, first, we have to plan the call. We have to prepare to make sure that before I tell a client that they owe me the money, that they really owe me the money. Second, I need to make the call, then conclude the call, post-call follow-ups, and then hone on my listening skills. Believe it or not, the most important thing is the post-call follow-ups. A lot of people have great collection calls. The customer says they're going to pay, and that's the end of it. They do not follow up. They do not follow through. So when we want to succeed in a collection call, it starts with planning, and it ends with a post-call follow-up. If we fail on following up, nothing happens really. Well, you are at the mercy of the customer, and you are no longer in control. A combination, mailing, phone call, visiting, personal visit to a customer. I visited customers and distributors around the world to make sure that they are happy and that the company is getting paid on time, especially when you are dealing with millions of dollars of transactions or hundreds of thousands. You don't just want to use the phone. You want to go in person to meet the distributor, travel with the sales force, if your company allows that, to do that. The whole mechanism, this is the key, really, to make sure that you arrest the risk component on your portfolio. Third parties, collection agency, Uncle Guido, Uncle Vinny, Uncle Sam. A lot of times, believe it or not, people don't realize if you owe me money and you don't pay, I can send you a 1099. This is a profit. And you can say, yeah, I'm going to report it to the IRS. So in essence, there's a lot of techniques that you can do to be able to affect an expeditious cash flow. Operation cash flow, know thy customer. That means we need to classify our customers as to character. Because I can guarantee you, in credit due diligence, a customer of good moral character will pay you no matter what. We need to classify the customer as to payment habits. You'll be surprised in your portfolio, 80-20 rule, 80% of your customers will pay you on time. Then those people will need just an invoice. Now we need to deal with the 20%. And within that 20%, classify those by special cases. And then classify your customer by excuses or reasons. For example, remember the matrix that we looked at yesterday, it is really a sales tool, credit tool, collection tool, negotiation tool. Here is in the tactical approach, every account on my portfolio, the accounts receivable aging, I'll say, are the customers willing and able to pay me? Great. That should be at least 80% or more, or even 90%. If you work hard to rehabilitate the special cases and to work with portfolio, I was able to get clients from a 60% willing able to 95% willing and able. That's huge. But most companies are between 80 to 85, and then we have about 15 to 20% that will work into the willing, unable, unable, unwilling, and able, unwilling. So this is one of the, feel free to print the screen, print the slide. When we put it in our library, you can always visit it and feel free, learn it, and make a copy and use it in your departments. It will be really a wonderful tool to help you, to remind you of the importance of cash flow and how to classify your customers as to character. Here is classifying your customer as to payment habits. Know who pays you on time. That means these are the low maintenance. Those who are in the 31 to 60 or the 1 to 30 or the 61 to 90. I can assure you there are chronic people. Maybe it is really the company that pays. Maybe match your receivable expectation with their paying habits. Talk to the customers. When do they pay? Do they pay on the 15th? Do they pay on the 30th? Like when I dealt with Canadian distributors, They use to pay some payments on the 10th of the month, other payments on the 25th of the month. So you know you're going to be getting paid by the 10th or by 25th. If you bill anybody before the 25th, you're not going to get paid sometimes until the 10th of the following month. So really match the payable schedule with your accounts receivable expectations. But this is very important to understand on your portfolio, which customer is in which bucket. Here is special cases. Some clients will say, I'm paying you, here's the check, then it becomes NSF, not sufficient fund. Oh, so they send you a check, stop payment. Oh, account is closed. Why? They were just playing the float. They were playing games, but they don't realize they violated the law. When they do something like this, this is against the law. So we can actually send it to the DA's office, and then they keep sending these bounce checks and so forth. Some people take unearned discounts and deductions. These are the chiselers and the nibblers. So we will stop the chiseling and the nibbling. Oh, I'll pay you, but give me another 5% discount. I'll pay you, I need another 2% discount. No, we gave you all the discounts, now you owe. All discounts should be given before a sale is done, not after the sale, or to really incentivize them to pay the money that they already said they are going to pay according to your terms. Then there are chronic complainers, trap setters, naggers, promise breakers. I'll pay you tomorrow. Tomorrow comes nothing. I'll pay you next week. Next week comes nothing. We need to understand those special cases. Then there are frosters, shysters, deadbeats, and skips. Believe it or not, I've come across everything on this and more. There are hundreds of different special cases and even more. People are extremely creative, so understand those special cases. Excuses versus reasons. Notice there is above the line, below the line. When people say the check is in the mail, did not receive your invoice, pay only from statement, pay on the 10th only, did not receive your product, computer is down, there is no check signer, the account is on vacation, we pay once a week, product is defective. This could be true, but it might not be. It could be the tip of the iceberg. We need now to look at the 90% above the water. The check is in the mail. Are they paying the float because they have cash flow issues? Is the company going bankrupt? Are the owners going through divorce? I've seen many times when owners and partners are going through divorce, they start relaxing their paying habits. Now they're paying their attorneys for their divorce cases, not their vendors. Bank close line of credit. Why would a bank close your line of credit? Currency devaluation and lost business. That could be a reality. Look at Ukraine and Russia. If somebody was doing business in Russia, the ruble devaluated quickly. So all of a sudden, what happens? What do you do? How do you do it? Or they're going through financial difficulties. The customer is out of business. There are seasonal businesses. Okay, they sell in one season, they collect in another. They don't have the cash flow right now. Economic recession or depression and so forth. So this is just the sampling of what could be the reason. The goal when we are collecting from a company is to go from the top to the bottom to realize, you tell me the check is in the mail. If I receive it in 2 to 3 days, it was indeed in the mail. You didn't receive the invoice, thank God for emailing. Boom, I'll email you the invoice. Within 2 seconds, I'm on the phone. Here is the invoice. You receive it yet. Now there is no more excuse. Now, if they stay, they continue past due. Now you know it's no longer about they didn't receive an invoice. It was just an excuse because the real reason is they are going to financial difficulties. So excuses versus reasons. How to deal with them. Now reasons are legitimate. I will work with them. If somebody says, I got furloughed because of the pandemic, I lost my job, I will work with that because we know millions of people lost their job in 2020 because of the pandemic. We will work with that. That is a reason. It's not an excuse. They're legitimate. Now, when we deal with excuses, determine first if it's an excuse. If it is eliminated, create a sense of urgency through credit education that they need to pay. Anticipate the next excuse and eliminate it. Think ahead of the debtor. And remember, excuses are emotional responses, must be acknowledged, but then move the debtor from the emotional state into the rational state by asking questions in order to discern if the excuse is illegitimate or there is an underlying reason and so forth. So that's one of the things that I do as a tactical approach to dealing with excuses versus reasons. Look at the word cash flow. So when we think of the words cash flow, the C in cash means contact. A, be attentive and focus on the debtor and the issues. S, be systematic and be sympathetic. H, have heart, be humble and honest. You are dealing with human beings, be a human. Friendliness, be friendly, be liberating. And O, be open-minded and think of the options. And yes, both of you should be winners. Because if we deal with our debtors and our customers as winners, we put them in a positive frame of mind. Never approach a debtor that they are shysters and fraudsters unless they are. Even if they are, I will not say that because I want to really flush them out. I will bring them out from underground into the light, from darkness into the day, and that's very important. Have a system. Here is tools collectors use. As we create a system, we have what we call a daily activity report. We have tickler files, and today you can use software to do that. Past due invoice boxes, ledger cards, notes and calendars, Outlook, to-do lists. Then we have a report, an aging report that the system could generate on a daily basis to tell us who is owing us what in that day, and your customer portfolio in which buckets. If they're current, 1 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, 91 to 120, and 120 to 150, and then 150 plus. DSO, Day Sales Outstanding Report. That means if I sell today and my turns are 15, my DSO should not exceed 15 days, should be 15 or less. But if it goes above that, that means people are taking longer to pay these sales transactions, these invoices. Why? Potential write-off and bad debt report. We need to know exactly the lay of the land. Who is going to be written off from our portfolio? Because that money doesn't exist. So you have to take care of it. If they are unwilling to pay you, the only way is now to write it off. Here is a collection procedures benchmark. Look how specific is this. Day 1, collection starts. Day 11, contact the customer. Day 15, send an email. Day 20, follow-up call, followed by an email or letter explaining the policy, requesting payment to be made. Day 30, follow-up call is made to explain the importance of being current. Day 45, follow-up letter is sent outlining the consequences of non-payment and the possible collection escalation. Now, in between these, there are also phone calls. 60, follow-up call, prepare the account for third party. Day 75, final communication with the customer. Day 90, turn account to third party, collection agency attorney. I always remember, in 90 days, your dollar became 73 cents because look how much you worked on it. You spend money and time and effort to collect. Practically, that dollar, you have to spend another almost 27 cents just to make sure that you are going to collect it. And if you could continue doing this process for another 90 days, that dollar is going to be 50 cents. Because you are putting a lot of human effort, collection effort to collect it. Remember also this tool, the 80-20 rule. 80% of your accounts practically give you 20% result. But 20% are big accounts. They give you 80% of your aging collected collection amount. Go after them first. Look at which customer owes you the most at the beginning of the day. Go after them. But sad to say, a lot of collectors don't want to deal with the big amounts. They think, oh, that's tougher collection. Let me go after those who owe me $10, $50, $100, $1,000. By the time you exhausted your prime energy, all of a sudden you feel, I'm tired. Now, to deal with those who owe you a lot of money, it requires a lot of energy and effort. So look at your portfolio, see the 20% on that portfolio that will give you 80% result in your collection efforts. And once you achieve breakthroughs there, now you can take on the world. The other 80% on your activity list that gives you 20% result will be dealt with in a nice, fun way. You'll be going one after the other because now you're enthused, you're motivated, you close the deal. The one who owes you $100,000 is going to send you the check, or the one that owes you $150,000, the check already was wired. Wow! Now you are so enthused, so pumped up to keep going and to collect. Cash flow depends on follow up, and follow through. Because when, as I said before, if somebody promises follow up, If somebody says the check is in the mail, make sure that you follow up to make sure you received it. If somebody says, Eddy, I will come and see you in person so we can put a payment arrangement, make sure that they are there meeting you on the day that they said and the time that they're going to meet you. Without follow up and follow through, nothing will happen. Collection tips, best practices. Call overdue accounts early and frequently. Be consistent with invoices and statements. It has to be timely. Update payments regularly, daily. Train properly. Everyone in the collection department should be a top-notch collector. Use the aging report daily. Rectify billing errors quickly and daily. Not every account is collectible. You have to understand there is a time to hold them, but there is a time to fold them, and there is time to run away. Use third parties when necessary. Use technology wisely and build relationships, because collection is about being human. Learn and master the diffuse technique. Many times when we deal with customers are going to be angry and irate. How do I diffuse the angry customer who is like a bomb ready to explode? Take the word diffuse. D, don't allow yourself to lose your cool. Because just imagine if you are trying to diffuse a bomb and you start deciding, I want to play basketball with it, I want to score into the net, it's going to blow in your face and others. E, encourage your customers to vent their anger. Remember, a pressure cooker. Release the steam, open the valve, release the steam before you open the lid. So that's your customer. Let them vent out all that emotion. Let them go from the emotional state into the rational by finding out the facts. Ask questions, find the facts. Now they stop to think. Now you are moving them from the emotional stage to the rational stage. Then understand their feelings. You go back to the emotion. Mr. Customer, understand, I feel for you. I have all the sympathy. I have the empathy here. Then suggest a solution, and maybe solutions, options, and alternatives, and then end always on a positive note. That's the diffuse method. My final thoughts about collection, I call them the ABCs. A, acquired knowledge. Knowledge is power. What do I mean by that? Knowledge about collection, about best practices and strategies and tools. Knowledge of the customer, your company, your product. Because if I want to collect an account, if I don't know the features and benefits of my product, if I don't know that my product was on a recall list, that's why the customer is not paying me, and I'm telling them how my product is the best quality, I'm not going to be as effective collector. Acquire the knowledge, everything you can about the company, the product, the customer, your team, everything, because it gives you the power. It gives you the leverage. Be a builder. That means build the rapport, build the relationship, be a friend. Believe it or not, people pay people. They don't pay companies. If you as a collection professional, you befriend your sales and marketing team, they befriend the procurement officer, you befriend the accounts payable person, now all of a sudden you are no longer a name on a paper or a function at a company called accounts receivable. You are a person. I am Eddy. Oh, Eddy's my friend. I need to pay Eddy. Not I need to pay the company. That is very important. So by building that relationship, you are going to score high. In fact, here is a tip. When I worked at a company, every year I used to, because think about it, sales and marketing, salespeople get a lot of gifts. And when I used to travel with salespeople give gifts to their counterparts. But who really gives gifts to the accounts payable person? Not too many. So I decided when I was traveling with sales that accounts payable at my distributors are not getting anything. So I decided to create the Eddy Sumar Award for the best company that pays on time and so forth. And it's amazing. People were fighting to get the Eddy Sumar Award. But then I decided every year, in a month that there is nothing happening, no holidays, nothing, unexpectedly, they will get a beautiful gift from Rainbird Credit Department, signed by Eddy Sumar, your friend, Eddy Sumar, your friendly credit manager. Wow. And I will send them a pen. Look at the imagery, a beautiful pen with a quote. Every year I used to get a nice pen, put a quote, different quotes. Together we achieve the extraordinary. Another, teamwork, the key to success. So each year we do something. One day I was visiting Costa Rica, and Gabriela, the accounts payable supervisor at the distributor, says, Eddie, let me show you something. She showed me the pens that I used to send to her, and she loved it. Says, Eddie, every time I look at it, I say, now my salespeople get gifts, but I also get a nice gift from you, and it reminds me to pay you, to write that check every month. I didn't intend for that, but it's amazing. Sending a nice pen with a quote and a logo was telling Gabriela, pay Eddie. He's your friend. He's your friendly credits manager. Amazing. So these are the things, by building the rapport, becoming a friend, now they pay you. C, checks and controls, constant monitoring. That's why you notice you have to have a tickler file. You have an aging report, a daily aging report. It's like when you are driving a car. You can just say, I know the sound of my engine is going to be at 50, but what if you are in a zone that says now you go down to 25 miles an hour? How would you know that the sound of your engine, that you are now from 50 going down to 25, maybe going down to 30, and boom, a policeman is there. You are in a school zone, now you get a ticket. So checks and controls, constant monitoring allows you to be in a safe zone. And D, due diligence makes the difference. See how the ABCs? And now we go to the E. E, empathy, times experience, times expertise makes you an excellent collector. And the F means follow up, and follow through. Follow these fundamentals. Remember the word fundamentals, also with an F. They shall lead you to your G, to your goal. And what is your G? Is your C, cash that will secure your timely cash flow. Which means now the wisdom in execution as a true credit and collection professional is you have to be a diplomat and a negotiator. But these are the 4 P's of successful collectors. We have to be patient. We have to be persistent in our approach to getting paid, to securing the timely cash flow. And yes, we have to be proactive. And we have to be prompt. Now you say, Eddie, this is an oxymoron. That's a contradiction. Be patient, but be prompt, because promptness requires quickness. There is no contradiction. We are prompt in what we do. We do things quickly, but we are patient with the customer. We are prompt as a company. When we say we're going to do something, we do it. Mr. Customer, in order for you to pay, I have to issue the credit, issue the credit. If I have to issue a debit note, issue a debit note. Mr. Customer, you owe me this, it's a debit, but I owe you this is a credit. Let's make sure the account is reconciled, and now I am prompt. I executed on my promises. I'm performing. What about you, Mr. Customer? But be patient with that customer. Be human. Be persistent to make sure that you continue working with the human side and the task side, and always be proactive. That means anticipate, predict what is going to, predict that excuse, the second and third excuse. Always be 10 steps ahead of them, not 1, 10 steps ahead of them. And that's what will secure your timely cash flow. In fact, I like Kenny Rogers. Usually when I do it in person, I play the YouTube songs from The Gambler. If you're going to play the game, boy, you got to learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. And I thought this is amazing. I've seen a lot of collection managers and collection professionals holding onto an account like that shrinking dollar, because they feel if they moved it to the next level or to collection agency, that it's attacking their own ego. Collection is not about ego. Collection is about making sure that cash flow is on a timely basis, about deploying the 3 C's, the customer service, the credit education, the collection techniques. It's really about understanding the customer, deploying the 4 P's and all of that. And yes, there are times when ability and willingness are not there, it's time to give up. Yes, run from that, because the longer you linger and work that account, it's going to shrink and shrink. And if you keep it for 2 years or more, your $1 became at the best 10 cents or less. So that's very important. Quickly move it, because sometimes you move that shrinking dollar to a collection agency, you can add the penalties described in your contract, or you can add the interest charge, and that shrinking dollar becomes really on a healing path, because now with penalties and interest, they will start to accumulate. And then you give the collection agency an account. When you add all the interest charges that accumulate, you get your dollar back maybe. So that's very important to understand the power of what Kenny Rogers in The Gambler sang. And here's the golden rule. All things, therefore, that you want men to do to you, you also must likewise do to them. Remember, never, never, never demean a debtor. They're human beings. Deal with them with compassion, with concern, but attack the problem. Attack the debt, not the debtor. Attack the debt, not the person. Yes, it's the problem, not the person. Grant Hill said, treat people with respect and be honorable human being, and you will end up a winner. And that's exactly, both of you will be winners. I love this proverb. In God we trust, all others pay cash. And the other proverb says, trust in Allah, but tie your camel. Yes, you see, that's why we start with credit due diligence. I can't just trust a customer without doing my due diligence. And even then, in God we trust, like you see that the American currency, but all others pay cash, which means I trust you, Mr. Customer. I trust God, but pay the cash. When you pay my cash, then my sales got recognized, my profit turned into cash, and now cash pays the bills. And this is a quick exercise. You can do that when you see it on YouTube, but it's amazing how the brain, you can actually read it even though everything is garbled. So that's really a collection. You start with a garbled approach, but if you know the beginning and the end of every word, you can say, I couldn't believe that I could actually understand what I was reading. The phenomenal power of the human mind, according to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. The only important thing is that the first and the last letter be in the right place. The rest can be a total mess, and you can still read it without a problem. This is because the human mind does not read every letter by itself, but the word as a whole. Amazing, huh? Yeah, and I always thought spelling was important. This is exactly what collection is all about. It's a messy thing. But as long as we put the boundaries, the first and the last letter are known, now we can bring everything into focus, and both you and the debtor are going to read the word cash. And with that, you secure a timely cash flow. And I thank you very much for being with us on this wonderful webinar. It's my passion to talk about the matter of collection. And I really believe that a lot of these tools and skills could be used and will help you to secure your timely cash flow. Thank you very much, Mr. Ornelas. Thanks for IERCC, the Inland Empire Regional Chamber of Commerce, and the San Bernardino County Economic Development Department for making this a reality. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Eddy. Great job. Again, thank you all for watching.